Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today it is July the 14th, it is Tuesday. It was not possible for me to post an update on Saturday and on Monday, but here we are. And yesterday it was another apocalypse in the market, and in the aftermath of the events that happened over the weekend. Apparently the ceasefire was between the US and Iran was definitely broken, and now at the time on Monday yesterday prices of oil the price of oil increased, and as you can expect, with the subsequent expectation of inflationary pressures, all metals came completely in a downward trend, very heavily one. And because of that, our losses soared. And I'm not going to use the number today because I don't think the number today should reflect what is our progress in a challenge. This video should have been recorded and posted yesterday, and so I'm going to use the yesterday losses, and making here a very quick calculation, this is about 105,000, and so the losses should have been, unrealized losses should have been about $119,700, just to make things a little bit more difficult, and also because this is actually the reality at the time, yesterday at least. Now things are a little bit better. We managed to recover somewhat. We are still above 100,000, but still the number that counts is the number from yesterday. In the meantime, we have deposited some more funds here. We still have here about 30,000 euros in cash. We still have some buying power left to make sure we account for any potential swings in the exchange rate. Here you see that the exchange rate has been remaining somewhat stable between $1.14 and $1.14.5, so not much to say about that. And today the market is going up, at least the metals are going up, and also the stock market, the equity market is also going up, not only as a relief from yesterday but also because of the CPI. As you can see here, the numbers that came were quite favorable, as expected. You see here that these are the numbers for June. Then here, if we look at the prices of oil by June the 1st, they were around $91. We are watching here the WTI, all right? So this is the crude oil, which is not the one that is delivered in Europe, but it's the one that is in the American market. And so on June the 1st, they were hovering around 91, and at the end of June, so if you look here at June the 30th, it was hovering at around 69.70. So because of this drop, some ripple effect on the rest of the prices in the economy should have been reflected, and so that is probably the reason why, if we look here at the headline, here at the headline index, so the headline including energy and food, the expectation was that the prices month on month would come down by 0.2, but instead came by double, so 0.4. An inflation easing from last month from 4.2 to 3.8 was already expected, but instead came down to 3.5, again positive. But still, if we just consider the core, so discounting the food and energy, you see here that it was expected a maintenance month over month, 0.2, but instead came even. So relative to the last month, things remained stable, so no price increase or decrease, but still the prices, and this is of course month over month, but year over year it came down, the core, from 2.9 to 2.6, lower even than expected. Now here, if we look at what is happening after July the 1st, the price was around $69, give or take 68, 69. Now it is close to 80, given the events that happened over the past few days. So if these prices remain, there is some chance that inflation will accelerate a little bit for the July month, when in August the CPI numbers for July come out. But still, we are pretty much in the middle of the month, so we don't know what's going to happen. But for the time being, here you see that we are at the moment with this situation, and in terms of the trades that we did, nothing really exceptional. As we deposited more funds, we continued to roll over our positions and sell more puts. All right, and now I decided also to go a little bit more aggressive on the puts that we sell, and I can show here. Let's just pull it in here. So if we look here, you'll see that over the past couple of days, so since July the 10th, right? So it was about 4 days ago. Actually, yes, since Friday, we went quite aggressive on the puts that we sold. So we start to sell puts above 20 deltas. And the reason for that is because we would really like to take as much advantage as possible from these prices being depressed to buy more shares, and with such low deltas such as 10, 12, 13, it becomes really difficult because the puts strikes are a long way away. So we decided to go a little bit more aggressive. Still, now we used these very, very low deltas just because given the puts that we still have live, we want these puts to make a difference in our cost basis, and so that's why we decided to go a little bit further down the option chain, even though of course this is just a backup plan in case our initial puts are assigned, these ones over here, because once these are assigned, these become more probable to be assigned and still make a difference in our cost basis. Otherwise it would not make much sense to sell these puts, knowing that they will not make a difference in our cost basis. And so, as things are at the moment, we are still waiting to see what happens with these, but it's a tricky situation because the puts need to be in the money at expiration, because the puts will not be assigned earlier. That makes no sense for the put buyers to assign the shares to assign the puts earlier. So this is becoming a situation in which, if we had the possibility to buy the shares outright, as we can in our Emirati account, it would be convenient to make the most of these occasions in which the prices are very much deflated. But until we make the transfer, we are not in a position to do so in this account with the funds that we have in here. So for now, this is pretty much a wait and see situation. Continue to do our job and see how prices progress. Maybe because of this situation in the CPI, maybe and especially because tomorrow the PPI will come next. So we have the PPI coming tomorrow. If the PPI comes also good, chances are some recovery will happen in metals over the rest of the week, unless of course more developments from the adverse developments from the Middle East come. So we'll have to see what's going to happen. Let's now switch over to our Emirati account and see what went on over there. All right, so here we are in our Emirati account, and you see here that all the puts are set to expire this week. These puts were not sold on Monday. They were actually sold last Friday. And here you see that the puts that we were set to expire last week, I did not let them expire. I just bought them back before the session was over and open new positions for this week. And the reason I did that, because you may notice that when we were doing the 100K challenge, we were trying to, of course, make the most of our premiums, but we were trying to avoid assignment. Under most situations, we were trying to avoid assignment as much as we can, and so the prices of the shares for the day were important to set a 13 or a 15 delta put so that we could keep a good balance between the premiums we received and the likelihood of profit. Now, in this situation, because we are already we already know what are the strikes that we are looking for, given the current level, all right, and we really want to have these puts assigned. I decided to just sell them. First of all, it maximizes the velocity of the cash velocity, so we get more premium out of it, and also we know that 2 days of time value will pass because of the weekend, and so it doesn't really matter for us if we sell now at the 15 or 20 deltas and then there is the prices fall down as they did on Monday and our puts are become in danger of being assigned. This is not something that we are concerned about at this moment because we really want to have these puts assigned at a good price. And yesterday the price of GDX, for example, was hovering around 73. And so, for example, this put was actually in the money. And so if this happened, it would have been very beneficial for us because here, as you see, we would have, let's see, it's the GDX, yeah. We would have this put assigned and this would bring our cost basis from 91.5 here to 88. So it would be beneficial for us. But because we already have these values very well set up and we know the strikes we want to hit, we just sell them as early as possible, collect the most premium that exists based on the time value that still is left, and then we maximize the cash velocity, so we increase our returns because of that. And so that's why I decided to proceed in this fashion. Now, we will see what's going to happen over the next few days. Most likely these puts, as always, will expire worthless, but we will continue as much as we can within the requirements of, again, making a sufficient dent in our cost basis. We will try to settle for puts that are around these deltas over here. So 25, 23, 27, around these values, because we want to get these puts assigned. We want to lower our cost basis to get rid of these positions as soon as possible. And one more thing that I decided I'm also considering is that because this loss over here was realized but then was recovered when the liquidation was reversed, we are currently at around 53. The SLV is around 53, so maybe for the time being I will not try to sell calls at the moment at a strike of 74 or 74.5, I think, which is the current strike that I'm using. I'm going to try to use the strike price of 69 because yeah, we will get a very small capital gain, 630, and of course we are trying to correct our graphic, but our performance graph, but the performance graph will never be correct anyway, because even if I sell a 74, it will not account for this gain because the chart still has to recover from the dip that happened because of the forced liquidation. And so maybe next week we will sell at 69 instead of 74.5, but this is something that I will think about over the next few days. So for the time being, this is all. Feel free to leave your comments in the comment section down below. I'm also available on LinkedIn in case you need to ask me any questions. And as always, feel free to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And we'll reconvene over the next week, on the next weekend, to see what happened during the next few days. And I'll see you there.